Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Postmatch show. Liverpool 2, Fulham 2. This was like a really, really weird one. Exciting match. I mean, we were just talking in the Discord channel for the panel show. And, like Glenn, the Brentford fan, was even saying, like, for the neutral, it had to be a blast to watch.
Yeah.
It was exciting. You don't handle excitement really well, Serzi. So what do you make of the game? How much medicine was taken during this?
As I said on a pre-show, by the 10th minute, I'll be popping pills, and that's exactly what happened. Just, oh my god! Like I was in hope, like I was hoping that Allison's back, and and he'd keep a clean sheet, and yeah, you just knew this game from last year. It was just going to be a basketball game, and it's just considering how long we were down for 10 players. With 10 players, it's a good point in the end. But it just shows how much we need a left back and how much we need Konate back, fit and ready.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? This game is weird in the sense that it's very hard to like sit down over here and like analyze certain things middle of the game and second half and stuff like that. We can talk about like substitutions and stuff like that, but I don't know what's going on, Suleiman. I mean, that's the thing. I don't know how to evaluate it. The biggest compliment I can give today is the fact that it did not feel like a 10v11 game. You watch the second half. If somebody turned on the second half and just watched the game not knowing what's going on, they would not say one team was down to 10 men. The way we were able to still control and dominate possession. And that, you got to give a lot of credit to the guys for that. I mean,
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
There's a lot of people like criticizing this, criticizing that, but like literally people are criticizing, I feel like, forgetting that we were only at 10 players on the pitch.
Yeah, I don't think any players played bad. And Robertson, I think the worst player we had until Robertson left was Robertson. He was getting caught out. So, just by default, he was taken off. So, and then obviously when Kwanzaa came on, he's not the Kwanzaa we saw last season. He's very, he's got a mistake in him. Gomez, he's always got the odd mistake in him. But, Szoboszlai's played, he played well. Jones played well. Gravenberch, like, is there anything that guy can't do? Like, seriously, to play.
He's a young Milner, yeah.
I know, and like he made defending look easy. Then you have Kwanzaa come on, who's naturally a defender, and he made Gravenberch look like brazy. So no, it was everything considered, and especially with Arsenal dropping points, it was a good result. Coming back, if we were winning 2-1 and then Fulham scored, it'd be a little bit harder to take. But yeah, we got away with it. And just move on now.
Yeah, that's another thing. It feels like normally, let me answer this. Is it because Everton kind of took care of business on the other side, which eases the blow? Even though if Chelsea wins, they're, within 2 points. Mind you, we have a game in hand. But, like, does that kind of make this, like, to you, because normally I know you would take this a lot harder over here. You're not taking it as hard. Is that because Arsenal lost points, or is that because we were 10 men and we actually, were able to secure a point at the end?
No, I think the Arsenal result softened the blow, and just seeing Arsenal and Manchester City kind of self-capitulate, because Arsenal, like, when was the last time they scored a goal from like open play?
I didn't check the stats. They must not have had a lot of corners, so they
it's so that's great for us. And they don't have an attacker. We dog on Nunes so much, but I think Arsenal do anything to have someone like Nunes on their team because they can't score goals. I mean, not that Nunes scores that many goals, but he'll be a better outlet.
Yeah, why would they want Nunes?
But he's a better outlet, though. He's a good outlet. So. The Arsenal result went for us. Hopefully Brentford do us a favour tomorrow. I'm not really bothered about the Manchester game, but yeah, to come back from 10, being down to 10 players, losing someone in that important role. And what I loved about Slot, he they're saying in the game, like the commentary, like he didn't make a sub. we didn't get desperate. Like his in-game management, I've never seen that before. He literally changed the positions like 4 or 5 times before halftime. Like he knew what he wanted, and so hopefully he's not suspended against Spurs. I think he's just suspended
He
against
is.
Southampton. But he is.
Oh, is he? I thought he was suspended against Spurs. It's
Because
almost like
I read somewhere that Robertson is out just for the Southampton game. So, but I mean, that could be wrong. So, but yeah, Slot's in-game management. That's why he's head coach. He knows what he wants and he doesn't get desperate.
Yeah, he
So
was
that was
tinkering a little bit, right? It took a little bit, and honestly, I feel like if I'm a Fulham fan, and we'll ask a lot about this to Alex on Tuesday's panel show, but if I'm a Fulham fan, I would be frustrated because there was like a 5 to 10 minute period there where we were all over the place. Like everybody, like nobody was comfortable where they were at, and there was a lot of like space behind, and they really could not capitalize. And once we got settled in, yeah, I mean, we regained the control of the game. The biggest thing that everybody was criticizing, I find it wrong to criticize, to be honest with you, was the Kwanzaa substitution. Well, like Kwanzaa coming in and pushing Gravenberg up. I personally thought, I mean, when I saw Kwanzaa, I was like, okay, that makes sense. To me, that signals a coach who is looking to win and not just secure a point. Because if he put Endo in for Jones, to me, that's saying, okay, we're going to settle for a point. If we win, we win. By doing what he did and making the front basically 4 people up top, to me, that's a coach saying, we got to go. We got to go see if we can get the 3 points. Instead of, I think, people recognizing that it got a lot of, because Kwanzaa made a mistake.
I think it's that.
Yeah.
I think it's
flawed substitution.
Yeah, I think it's who came on, given the form that Kwanzaa's in. But also I like the fact that Slot still kind of believes in him to that extent. But yeah, I don't know what Endo needs to do to get a game, but I probably would have made that change. I probably would have brought Endo in and not Kwanzaa and leave Gravenberch where he is because and ultimately he did kind of.
Wouldn't then people say he is playing for a draw? Because that's what I mean. Like, I think this is all hindsight. If Kwanzaa doesn't make that mistake, we don't criticize it. I think it's because of what happens. Now it's easy to say because Kwanzaa made a mistake, that was the wrong thing. If he put Endo in, I guarantee you a lot of people would say, okay, we're kind of like trying to control the game. If we get something out of it, we get something out of it. Otherwise, we will not.
Personally, I would think that bringing Endo on, who would have controlled the midfield better, which is what we needed. We needed some level-headed players, and for me, given Kwanzaa's form, that's how I would have taken it. I would have taken that fact that he's lost faith in Kwanzaa right now, and he's bringing Endo in to shore things up. But that's how I would have taken it. I wouldn't have taken it that we were just going for a draw. But given that fact that we went behind, and we're down to 10 players, I would have taken a draw at halftime as well. So.
Yeah, like I said, I was totally okay with it. I just feel like it's kind of like unfair to judge it based on the error Kwanzaa made. I don't think we would be judging it that way. Let's bring our buddy Jamie on over here. Jamie, what do you make of that game, man? Is it 2 points lost, points gains? What do you think?
We shall not be moved. We shall not. I don't know, lads. What are you going to do? In the Discord earlier, Causey said, you difficult to win the league. It's even more difficult to win the league by Christmas, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if you have talked massively about the red card, but red card for me, sure, solid. Absolute red card. But I think the Cardinals in there is a defender trying to control it with the outside of the boot, with somebody breathing down your neck. Just get rid of it. Do your job first, and worry about the rest of it. But a point gained, okay, you got to take them all at this point in the season.
I'll be honest, when that ball was coming in bouncing like that, I was worried as the ball was coming in because those are harder to control. But you're right, Jamie. I mean, he could have that's why you don't try to control them, because they are hard to control. And then you just like clear your lines, or you make sure, like more than controlling, you make sure it doesn't bounce behind you. So he kind of misplayed that. Obviously, there's like a lot of chatter about, Robertson's performance and stuff like that. So let me ask you that while we have you on, Jamie. What do you think? Is it time for a new left back? Is it just a glitch? Where are you at with that? Because I see people
I
all
mean, you
over.
can't judge him off this game, because if you do, it's curtains, right?
Oh
He
yeah,
takes
in
that knock.
general, I think this was almost like maybe the last straw for a lot of people that are kind of voicing it now.
He takes that knock early on, right? And you can tell that that's hurt his confidence, I think. But I mean, certainly has to be looked at. I mean, we talk a lot about, or I listen to you guys talk a lot about the succession plan for Becker, and we need to have a succession plan for all of these guys, because they're all getting on. They've done a lot. They've won a lot, and you strengthen from a position where you can afford to strengthen from. And yeah, I mean, we need to be looking at left backs. We're blessed with a couple of guys who can do a job at right back, and we're blessed with a young talent in Connor Bradley who can fill in at right back.
Yeah.
So I mean, we need somebody who can fulfill that role at left back, and possibly push Robertson into a spot where we use him when he's needed, or manage his minutes, or whatever. But we definitely need a succession plan. And I mean, days like today don't do the man any justice. He clearly took that knock early on, and the red card's just, absolutely. But yeah, just a terrible day for him.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you can't just look at this day and say, one bad game and get rid of the guy. But the other guy, I guess, and I'll ask you this, Cersei, is Kwanzaa, that, and this is what, I mean, this is what fans do. And unfortunately, this is what form does, especially when you're a young player. But we were saying, Cersei, this time last year, probably, this Kwanzaa kid is the next big thing. Who needs Konate and all that kind of stuff? And now it's almost like something is in the kids. I feel bad for him, because you can kind of tell a lot, like that header that went to a corner kick and stuff. It's in his head. And when it's in your head, especially as a defender, it's hard to shake it off. You can be a attacking guy, do a couple of good things and regain some of the confidence. It's really tough, and he looks like he's struggling, Cersei.
And someone just needs to speak to him. He's still young. He just signed a 5-year contract with us a couple of months ago. Van Dijk didn't become the world's best defender until he was 27. So he has to remember that. He's got good people around him. He's got Van Dijk around him. He's got Slow around him. Like he doesn't need to be desperate. Just play it simple. Like Connor Bradley, he just comes in, plays it simple, and where we don't miss Trent. I mean, we obviously missed some of his creativity, but I mean, against Madrid, like we didn't miss Trent. But Bradley, he did everything that game. So with Kwanzaa, he just needs to go back to keeping things simple. And I think he's trying too hard to try, and now he's seeing Gomez ahead of him. Now obviously Konate is ahead of him. He just accept his place in the pecking order, concentrate on his own game, and just stay out of his head. He's still young. He's got so many years ahead of him, and there's no pressure for him to suddenly become this world's best defender.
And in some ways, Jamie, like maybe an away game for a player like that always suits you better, right? Because you can kind of sense, like the last 20 minutes, anytime he got the ball, you can kind of sense the anxiety. And for a young kid, that's going to transfer, because he can get that semi-negative energy for the cross. So for a player like that, like to go, I mean, I would personally start him in the starting 11 against Southampton midweek. Going away, a good way to regain confidence and rotate at the same time.
Difficult for defenders, isn't it? I mean, it's very much a confidence world, and I mean, he's the beauty of it is he's young, right? He's got that confidence. Yeah. So I mean, every minute on the pitch is a learning curve for him, and it's a tough world being a defender, but it's even tougher being thrown in at the deep end for a big club like us. So I mean, that's just like Cersei said, he's got plenty of good folks around him to help usher him through. So I mean, big future for him. I think that's part and parcel of it, right? He's being measured up against some of the greats of the game.
Yeah, and that's the tough thing, especially for a young kid. But he does have, not only he has like a guy like Van Dijk and stuff, but I think he has a guy like Gomez over there who has been through the ringer and stuff. I think that's probably more valuable to talk to a guy like Gomez who says, man, you know, I was shit. Then I was the best duo, part of the best center back duo for a while. Then I was shit again. This is what happens. You're young.
He's already got one up on Gomez, though. He's already got a goal to his name, hasn't he? So, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess Gomez is like, at least you're fucking scoring. Jamie,
it's a hard life being a defender.
Jamie, before like I let you go, let's get some parting words for you. Like, how do you see this game in the grand scheme of things? Arsenal obviously losing points off the cause. How big of a threat is Chelsea, with City obviously floundering as well?
Honest lads, I'm just enjoying us right now. I think we're in such a spot. You know, we spoke weeks and weeks ago about enjoying the good moments and kind of Klopp's party role was to not overly celebrate the wins and not get too hard on yourself when we draw or lose. So I mean, I'm just enjoying it right now, lads. I think a point is a point, and once they're all added up at the end of the season, I think these drop points versus Newcastle and Fulham, I mean, we're probably going to look back and think, listen, we possibly could have lost these games, and those 2 points could be incredibly huge. Up the fucking Reds.
Thanks a lot for hopping on, Jamie. Take care, bud.
Take it, Jamie.
That's the thing, I guess. Okay, let me ask you this. How big of a concern is, we were talking about our like defending and, the amount of goals conceded, the slot special 2-0 and stuff like that. I kind of find it difficult to take this game as a measure, but if you still take a look at it, it's 5 goals conceded in the last 2 games. Is that a concern, or is that kind of like, just kind of what happens in a long season run?
It is a concern considering before the Newcastle game, we'd only conceded, 8 goals given the season, but we're missing Konate. So, we have to take that into account. So we have to look at a drop-off from Konate to Gomez to Kwanzaa. So it is a concern, but then knowing that Konate is going to be back soon, I obviously worry about Alisson. Obviously, he had a good game midweek. He led in 2 today. They weren't his fault, but the clean sheets help keepers. And you look at Kelleher, how many, he was on top of the world. How many clean sheets has he kept this season? It's. So, like you said, I've said, defense wins you titles. Goals may win you games, but defense wins you titles. We're just lucky that everyone else is conceding more than we are, and we just need to get our defense back on track. That left side is a problem. I just don't think we're going to buy anyone in January. I don't see how, if we keep Salah, Virgil, and Trent, that we buy a new player, because I think all that money is going to go on their contracts.
I honestly think we are getting somebody in January to fill. I mean, it might not be like everybody's like wish list kind of guy, but it would be somebody who fits a needs, and I can kind of see that. I mean, I don't know. In some ways, yeah, it's good to have a guy like that in the squad, but if you're not going to be able to have confidence to use him in a game like this, I know his purpose is like, when I'm talking about Endo, his purpose is kind of different. He would probably come in if we were up 2-1. He will be the one coming in and like kind of like keep a lead and kind of like slow down the game and stuff like that. But if you're not going to be able to rely on him to fill in that double pivot, I don't know what the point is. I know his leadership and attitude and stuff is great to have, but I don't know. It just feels that I'm assuming he will get a start. I mean, here's another thing. I mean, Trevor brings this up, and I agree. I think, we were talking about why this does not feel as bad as I thought it would. I think part of the reason is this: seeing Jota back and saying like, definitely. Oh, Jota, Where is Matush? I can't wait
Where's
to talk
Matus?
about Monday. Yeah. But and Harvey, because I do have some concerns. We were talking with Kazi about this yesterday morning. Like in terms of like, will he be able to fill in Szoboszlai, who was ridiculously good today?
It was.
It felt like 11v11. It's probably because Szoboszlai was playing like two guys up there in the middle of the pitch. But I mean, it's exciting to see Jota back in action because you can kind of see, even at the end, apart from the goal, anytime he's around the ball, it's a danger. And you can kind of sense the other defense worrying anytime he's around the ball.
Yeah, and that was a soft goal. I mean, it wasn't like it was a cracker goal. It just kind of like just skimmed off the floor, went in. But that's Jota. You know, it's he can have a quiet game for 89 minutes, and he'll just come out with that, and like you forget about the previous 88 minutes that he didn't do anything. And that's why that's the frustrating thing about Jota and with Nunes, because it's not Nunes' fault that Jota's not around. And I think, I mean, we're top of the league. I mean, this whole jumping on Nunes' back is kind of exaggerated a bit, but knowing that Jota's back, we've got a goal scorer, like a proven goal scorer that's taking us into December, January, as long as he stays fit. It is like a new signing for January. And then seeing Harvey come back, and he was great. Salah didn't have his best performance today. He lost the ball a lot of times, which no one talks about. But
really, I thought he was really good. I thought he was. I mean,
I think in the first half he lost a lot of the ball in the first half.
But we kind of relied on him to do everything. Like all the balls were going through him. So I mean, that's the thing. Like I know, like I was getting into with Kazi during the game. It's like I mean, they're gonna make bad passes. It's just a matter of like how much you're involved and stuff like that. I felt. Especially like once Robinson got the second yellow, he kept going at him. And the end of the first half, really every ball we were trying to get to Mo and make something happen. I really thought, actually, I mean, credit to Robinson, I guess. I really thought he would get him red carded at one point. And he almost did. He was actually pulling. It wasn't even, I think it was Gravenberg. He grabbed his shirt for a second. Right. And then credit to him, he kind of let him go right away because he probably knows that would be an automatic red. But yeah, it's good to see Harvey back in action there. I mean, it feels like Jota is like the most, I don't want to say the most important, but is like the most important guy to keep healthy up there over. I mean, you put Mo in a different category, but apart from the other four, because it feels like we just don't have another Jota. Like, Diaz and Gakpo kind of like interchange. Gakpo got his goal again today. And he was dangerous. He put a lot of good balls, and I think if Jota played the first half, a lot of those balls that Gakpo was putting in the box, because Jota knows how to create himself some space to get ahead and stuff like that. But so how often do you use him? Do you prioritize kind of saving Jota and, like, for example, on Wednesday starting Nunez up there against Southampton?
Oh, absolutely. I've played Nunez and Chiesa on Wednesday. I'd say Jota just for the Premier League games. And that's it. And just let him rest for the rest of it. Don't even send him to Portugal, no international games. Like, just kick him in the leg, like, for a day or two, like, for just for international, so he doesn't go. I have to keep him. Have to keep him just for the Premier League games because he's so important to us.
I think so, right? Like, you kind of keep him, you start him in the Premier League games. Champions League is already in the bag. Yeah. And, like the midweek, like the what you want to call it, the EFL League Cup / FA Cup, all these you kind of like roll with like Nunez and that's get his minutes. Even like Diaz, I think you got to kind of rotate those two to save their legs as we head into January. But I mean, at the end of the day, man, I really find that normally, I don't know, if you woke up and saw 2-2, you'd be like, first of all, why are you waking up? Second of all, what the hell did you do last night? But second of all, I mean, I think it would be disappointing, but having watched the game and the fight after we went down to 10, I just find it hard to be like upset. And I almost like semi-pleased with what I saw in an odd kind of way where you lost points.
Yeah, I'm the same. And with Fulham, like, you just know what you're going to get from Fulham. That they like every season, they come at us, and it's last season it was a 4-3, and I think it was a 3-2 in the cup game. So we knew it was going to be a difficult game. And like I said, given the context, 10 players coming back from behind twice, it would have hurt more if we were ahead and then we lost that point, against Newcastle. Like that was a missed opportunity. Today it was just, seeing it through. And the fact that Arsenal have been making it ground on us definitely softens the blow. So no, this is just one to forget. It's done. We've got a point and just move on.
Yeah, I mean, it could be one of those that we look back and be like, hey, that fight back to gain that point was huge kind of a deal. I mean, Newcastle felt more like a loss because we had the game and we gave it up in a Keller error in the last second. This one does not feel like a loss. It almost feels like a win in a weird kind of way. But I mean, we kind of forget that against Fulham, I was talking about this yesterday on the morning show with Anand and Kazi, that we do miss McAllister in games like this because he can take a small touch and we talk about how it's like a basketball game. McAllister sometimes can slow the game down with one move and one controlled pass. It's almost like the point guard that stops the fast break and calls up set play. And we kind of missed that in a game like this against a team like Fulham. That's why I felt like the middle was empty. It's hard to judge though, because we were 10 men. So the middle is going to be empty because we're pushing for a goal at the same time. But yeah, if you're following us today, if you're watching us, thanks a lot for your comments. Do chip in, subscribe, hit that thumbs up. Every bit helps. Throw in your comments and send it to a friend. We're at 993, trying to get to 1,000 by Christmas over here. So help us out. Hit that subscribe. Send it to a friend. Make them hit the subscribe. But we'll be back tomorrow probably with a watch along. We might do the Derby or the Chelsea game. So we'll announce that on our social media. So stay tuned in for that. But if nothing else happens, I will be back bright and early Monday morning with the Polish Prince for the morning coffee show. We'll be talking a lot about Jota and see what he says about that. Serzi, thanks for jumping on, bud. For all of you, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.
Have a great day.